People have created language to conceal their sins. Now, you can take that out of a religious context and understand that, bringing it to today, when adults are trying to target children with very non-age appropriate stuff, we have all these flowery words. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Let's party. So this is one that I am so excited to bring to you guys. This is a talk from George Carlin. Not a talk, actually part of one of his stand-up bits from 1990. Now, if you're new to the channel, you won't necessarily know that something that I harp on all the time is the language that we use. And specifically, the left wing, the far left wing, loves to use what I call semantic obfuscation, which basically just means changing words around and using words in such a way that the definition is very amorphous and they can make it mean whatever they want to make it mean, so that no matter what the issue is, you are wrong. So let's dive into this animated reconstruction of the bit, and it's great. Just trust me.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Yep. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
So remember, this is from 1990. This was over 30 years ago. And he's already telling us that this is going on.
I'll give you an example of that. There's a condition in combat, most people know about it. It's when a fighting person's nervous system has been stressed to its absolute peak and maximum, can't take any more input. The nervous system has either snapped or is about to snap. In the First World War, that condition was called shell shock. Simple, honest, direct language.
Simple, honest, direct language. And you probably already know where this is going, but
2 syllables, shell shock. Almost sounds like the guns themselves. That was 70 years ago. Then a whole generation went by, and the Second World War came along, and the very same combat condition was called battle fatigue. 4 syllables now. Takes a little longer to say. Doesn't seem to hurt as much. Fatigue is a nicer word than shock. Shell shock, battle fatigue. Then we had the war in Korea, 1950. Madison Avenue was riding high by that time. And the very same combat condition,
even though this was only 6 years later,
was called operational exhaustion. Hey, we're up to 8 syllables now. And the humanity has been squeezed completely out of the phrase. It's totally sterile now. Operational exhaustion. Sounds like something that might happen to your car.
And tell me you can't make this exact argument for birthing persons or persons with a uterus or chest feeders.
Then, of course, came the war in Vietnam, which has only been over for about 16 or 17 years. And thanks to the lies and deceit surrounding that war, I guess it's no surprise that the very same condition was called post-traumatic stress disorder. Still 8 syllables, but we've added a hyphen.
So I'm sure you guys are familiar with PTSD, especially because people throw that around all the time. And maybe part of the reason that is because it is a softening of a very, very serious thing.
And the pain is completely buried under jargon. Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Jargon. Or another word for semantic obfuscation.
I'll bet you if we'd have still been calling it shell shock, some of those Vietnam veterans might have gotten the attention they needed at the time. I'll bet you that.
Hard to argue with that.
But it didn't happen. And one of the reasons is because we were using that soft language, that language that takes the life out of life. And it is a function of time. It does keep getting worse.
It does keep getting worse. It has gotten worse, and it will continue to get worse. Point out the part of this that isn't directly prophetic about the 30 years that have happened since he's said all this.
Give you another example. Sometime during my life, toilet paper became bathroom tissue. I wasn't notified of this. No one asked me if I agreed with it. It just happened. Toilet paper became bathroom tissue. Sneakers became running shoes. False teeth became dental appliances. Medicine became medication. Information became directory assistance.
For those of you who are too young, yes, before Google, we had a giant book. You probably still get it, and you would have to call directory assistance to get the company that you needed.
The dump became the landfill. Car crashes became automobile accidents. Partly cloudy became partly sunny. Motels became motor lodges. House trailers became mobile homes. Used cars became previously owned transportation.
And again, these are all just examples of using different words to refer to the same thing, but to elicit different feelings. It's all about feelings. The facts don't matter. It's just about feelings.
Room service became guest room dining. And constipation became occasional irregularity. When I was a little kid, if I got sick, they wanted me to go to the hospital and see the doctor. Now they want me to go to a health maintenance organization or a wellness center to consult a healthcare delivery professional. Poor people used to live in slums. Now the economically disadvantaged occupy substandard housing in the inner cities. And they're broke. They're broke. They don't have a negative cash flow position.
A negative cash flow position.
Because a lot of them were fired. You know, fired. Management wanted to curtail redundancies in the
They were laid off.
Human resources area. So many people are no longer viable members of the workforce. Smug, greedy, well-fed people have invented a language to conceal their sins. It's as simple as that.
People have created language to conceal their sins. Now, you can take that out of a religious context and understand that, bringing it to today, when adults are trying to target children with very non-age appropriate stuff, we have all these flowery words like a map or gender affirming care, all of this stuff to make it seem like you are not mutilating and grooming children.
The CIA doesn't kill anybody anymore. They neutralize people. Or they depopulate the area. The government doesn't lie. It engages in disinformation.
Do I have to say anything about disinformation and how that buzzword has blown up in the 30 years since this was spoken?
The Pentagon actually measures nuclear radiation in something they call sunshine units. Israeli murderers are called commandos. Arab commandos are called terrorists. Contra killers are called freedom fighters. Well, if crime fighters fight crime and firefighters fight fire, what do freedom fighters fight? They never mention that part of it to us, do they? Never.
Good question. Good question. So, I mean, you guys can definitely check out the rest of the video. Thank you to After School, and definitely thank you to the late, great George Carlin for this amazing bit. I would love if we had his mind still available with us. But what do you guys think about this concept of semantic obfuscation? I believe it is one of two major things that is eroding the discourse, specifically political discourse, in this country and around the world. Changing things using flowery language might make you feel better, but it's not the way to go. We need to understand what we're talking about. We've gotten to a place where people can't define what a woman is anymore. We need to stop worrying about hurting people's feelings and start worrying about the truth and how we can make our society better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.